Live. 3, 2, 1. Hey. Welcome back to the Poly Pimps, the talk with Mitou and Sky about polyamory.
Hey y'all, what's good out there in La La Land? I'm here trying to set up the Instagram live.
Okay.
So I'm going to invite, I wonder how many people, I don't know. I'm gonna invite the Haitian. Say it again.
The Poly Haitian.
The Poly Haitian, HAITAI.
TIAN.
Oh,
TIAN. The Poly Haitian hottie.
Oh. Okay. I'm looking for you.
All right, let's see if you come up.
You could probably add me because you're probably already friends with the Poly Pimps on Instagram.
Are we doing? You want me to search you as a Poly Pimp? Sorry.
Yeah.
Like everybody's watching us struggle, right? So when do we not do that?
So we have a guest today. I'm so excited.
Yes.
I'm so happy. I am so happy. I am so happy. And I'm trying to get my daughter to go outside and get the book because I ordered your book and it's in the mailbox.
Thank you.
So I didn't get a chance to read it. Oh,
we're gonna comb through it a little bit.
Okay, wait. I got multi-monogamous is coming through on my Instagram. So how many people can do this?
I don't know how many people. I think a couple. I think.
Oh, good.
I don't know. Yeah. I can't find. I remember following all the pages, but I don't know. Maybe you might have to add me, Sky, because I'm not sure. But anyway, we are here.
I'm here now.
Let's do it.
Okay.
I'll keep trying.
Okay.
All right, so let's get it started.
Hey, Spellman. Hey. Welcome. Thank you for joining the conversation tonight. We are on fire. We're excited. We have Ghost here with us tonight to share his wisdom with us and his endeavor, his journey, all of it. We always love to sit down with poly friends or polyam. Or poly in general, I guess. Any kind of monogamy, we're here for it, and monogamy as well because we have a lot of monogamous friends. So
absolutely,
all is welcome.
Welcome.
We're trying to convert, though. We're trying to convert people.
Wait, let's rephrase that. We are not trying to convert. I am to convert. I'm trying to guide.
I am going to convert the world into polyamorous lovers. How about
I am trying to guide.
I believe this discussion will add to this.
What?
I believe this discussion will add to this.
Thank you. I appreciate that because there's wisdom in this. It's like to me, Ghost, you don't know my philosophy yet, but it's like the healing of the earth. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So here's the reason why I'm saying, personally, I don't like the word conversion because I always feel like it's imposing.
Like a religious feel to it.
Yes, because typically when we say we're trying to convert somebody, we typically let tell that person, yours is trash, mine is a shit, and that's that. There's no other options, you know? So that's why I kind of try to avoid the word conversion. I can guide you and then you can make that decision if you see fit. Of course, as me giving the word, I'm like, hell yeah, that's what you should do. But at the end of the day, I'm only trying to guide you.
Yes, I like that too. I like
guidance. Hey, Marcus. Hey. So, but I guess me and Sky were just a little bit different. She's aggressive with polyamory. She does not play, man. She's aggressive.
That's not even true. I'm not aggressive at all. I am not aggressive at all. Mitou is the aggressive one. No,
I'm
let me
not
tell
gonna
you the
agree with that.
background.
Mhm.
Mitou is aggressive because a couple years ago now, we
Mhm.
dated the same guy at the
I
same time.
I heard that on the last episode.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
Yes.
And she wanted to meet me, and I was like, I'm
Okay.
good. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
I'm good over here. You know what I
Okay.
mean? But she was like, "Oh no, I need to know who Sky is and all this stuff." So I was like, "Yikes."
Right.
She really wanted to be about that life. And you know what? I so appreciate that level of
Mhm.
womanhood and
Yeah.
grace, because this is where we are now. Jay is gone. I mean, he's
Mhm.
still our friend, but
Okay.
He's
Y'all kick
gone.
y'all kick
we
Jay to the curb?
yes. No, we didn't.
No,
No, we didn't.
no.
No, we didn't kick him to the curb. It just organically things happen. But we
Mhm.
love Jay and we love each other. And now we're doing this podcast so that I can do my mission of helping people
Converting people.
come to the light.
Hi, Mike Hassan. Hi. Welcome, guys.
So
So yeah, all right. Well, so what are we talking about tonight? Because Sky just like let me tell you, she was just like I could see her behind her little phone screen, like just typing messages after messages. I'm like, I'm so busy right now, I can't answer. But
Yeah.
she's like, multi-monogamy is what we're
Mhm.
talking about tonight. I'm like, what is that? I
Right.
have no idea what that is. I'm like, should I look it
Mhm.
up? Should I do some research before time? And I'm like, no, I'm actually gonna go in and
Yeah.
absorb just like everybody else and just put
Yeah.
in my 2 cents if I have a little.
that part.
Yeah. I was gonna ask you if you found a definition. I'd be curious because I remember when I first came across the word, I was like looking it up. I was like, I don't see no definitions for this word anywhere, really.
So how did you come about multi-monogamy? Like, how did
Oh,
you start using that
What is
word?
that?
How
What
did you
does
come
that
across it?
mean?
What is it?
yeah, yeah. So very interesting story. Multi-monogamous actually. Okay, so just real quick, it coincides with or put in the same group of polymono or monopoly, I guess they call
Mm-hmm.
it also. I think another word is ambiamorous.
Yes.
And these words
MBMers, yeah.
I
Okay.
came across like 2 years later. No, maybe a year and a half later after multi-monogamous came across basically my doorstep, for lack of words. So where multi-monogamous shows up is in a polyamorous relationship, and within that relationship I had other partners, and a couple other partners that I was with were actually of monogamous nature. So when basically having different discussions with a partner or another friend of mine in particular, they would kind of be like, man, it's interesting, you're polyamorous and also you have a monogamous nature. And within like a few months to maybe 6 months or something like that, I just kind of came up with this like, maybe I'm multi-monogamous. And I kind of just chuckled at it, but I didn't subscribe to any label or category. And keep in mind, I didn't know anything about polymono, monopoly, solo poly, metamorph. I didn't know any of those categories at all. And long story short, as actually a relationship was ending and saying basically this is like part of my therapy when I started just doing some writing and stuff like that, it came to me like, you know what, I'm going to really embrace the words multi-monogamous and I'm going to write about my journey and my experiences with being a polyamorous individual and dating monogamous individuals. So that's where multi-monogamous starts, and it just so happens that I think right before I started writing, matter of fact, this was part of the fuel or the inception of me writing. I came across this individual's handle. I think it's called Poly Perspective, if I'm correct. I actually have it in my book. And this is the book, by the way. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, we're gonna promote that book a little bit later
thank you so
now.
much. Thank you so
I'm
much.
trying to get the book is here. I'm trying to get it in my hand.
Yeah, you're good. So I came across this account called the Poly Perspective. And
Okay.
in that perspective, she, had different postings about different things. And I saw polymono and solo poly and stuff like that. And I read polymono and I was like, wait a minute. that's multi-monogamous. And that's when I was like, you know what? Let me write about multi-monogamous. I looked up the word, or the two words, and I didn't see it anywhere. And I was like, bam, that's going to be the title of the book. And yeah, that's where it came from. That's the origins.
I like that. I mean, for me, if I had to add any definition, because we
Mhm.
know we like to do that.
Yeah,
There's a word that's already established, and we're just giving our perspective of how we see it.
right.
So, if I had to define multi-monogamous just by the look of it, of the
Mhm.
word, right? I would say it could maybe pertain as well to a polyamorous, like a solo poly person,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Because I'm in all these different relationships, and of course,
Multiple,
today, yeah,
yeah.
today I
Mhm.
was also having this conversation because what else am I going to talk about?
Mhm.
It's polyamory everywhere.
Right.
Um, we were just talking. It's not a polyamorous person necessarily, and
Mhm.
we were just talking about all the different relationships. And so technically, when you think about it, I have a relationship with this person, that person, person C over here, but they're all separate. They're all single relationships.
Yeah.
We don't, because a lot of people always think, oh, it's an orgy, it's
Right.
everybody together.
Threesomes.
I
Yeah.
mean,
Right.
there are some
Right.
of that. We're not saying there's none of
Mhm.
that. It's just in the solo poly life, that's not necessarily what I do. So
Right.
we just have like all these different relationships. And so just looking at the word itself, because each of those individual relationships are monogamous in a
Yeah.
sense for
Yeah.
me with that person, even though we are
Yes.
not monogamous.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I totally agree. And that's kind of like my thing with it's it's interesting. And even as I was writing it, I was like, man, I have this love-hate relationship with labels and categories and words because you have different pros and cons. For example, I would say a pro or two would be alignment and the opportunity to connect with others based upon certain words and categories, and that's a beautiful thing. What I've noticed though, which is really interesting, and it's really something I want to also just make clear throughout this conversation
Hmm.
with others, is that a lot of these labels they get hijacked. um, Keep in mind, generally, we're not at the, when I say we, I'm talking about culturally speaking, us as
Right.
quote unquote Black people. We're not at the origins of the creation of these words. A lot of these words are European created,
Yeah.
So you have these interesting gray areas within the labels, and you have um, ethics committees and poly police individuals that
Poly
kind of,
police. I
yeah, I
like
call them
that.
poly police that are kind of governing the morals and ethics within the category. So that's my issue, is that my issue with the words and labels is that I oftentimes try to navigate in a specific way to put my own spin on it. And even though I'm not trying to make multi-monogamous this word or label, but I do think that we should um, capture the essence of these labels and words and make it our own too, because we see the world, we see reality through a different lens in so many different ways as it pertains to Black people as
Right.
opposed to European people. So we look at polyamory, metamors, we probably define that differently, a little bit the same, but we probably define that differently too, in
Hmm.
different
We
ways.
definitely do.
Yeah,
We definitely do, because every time we take something on, it has our own flavor sauced right
correct.
on it.
Right.
You know what
Always.
I'm saying? Every
Right.
time anything we do comes with our own genetic code. You know what
It
I'm saying?
does.
Right.
It
We
does.
carry our whole being differently. And every time there's a show or music or what have you, or lifestyle or relationship thing, or like everything we do, when we start dripping our sauce on it, it
Right.
becomes a thing. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Right.
And because
Correct.
no, even like because I cook for a living, right? So food is
Yeah.
always like how our taste buds and our style of cooking, and how we,
Mhm.
from Africa, Caribbean,
Mhm.
the southern part of America, even South America, like the way we manipulate food is way different, and it all
Oh
is
yeah.
vibrational. You know what I'm saying? It's all
Exactly.
Uh,
coming from a very connected genetic code. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? It's kind of like, I know this might go into like a weird direction, but
No, go there.
kind of
Take it there.
jumping off of like some of the stuff I saw on your page, which like
Mhm.
nature and polyamory and stuff like that.
Yes.
And folks don't realize that, or maybe they do. My
Mhm.
mushrooms are all connected, right?
Mhm.
Every mushroom is connected. They're all like, there's this other, all mushrooms have their own world, like right underground, and they're
Mm.
all connected to one another. Like they have their
Mm.
own nervous system throughout the earth where all mushrooms are connected. So it's the same kind of concept. Like we are really connected
Yeah.
tribally. Like we are, and so when we do polyamory, we do it from our own
Angle. Yeah.
angle.
Our own
Exactly. You
vibration. We put our own.
know
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
And as Ghost was saying earlier, to kind of go back a little bit and piggyback on it, with labels, there are pros and there are cons.
Mhm.
To me, pros is, you and I know this is a cup, right?
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
that's why we need labels, because people always say, oh, I don't like labels, I don't like this, I don't like that. And I'm like, but we do need labels in order for us to be in alignment, so we
Understanding.
know exactly what we're talking about.
Right.
This is an envelope. I know, because when I say envelope, you don't need to see it at this point, because we already know what
Mhm.
that looks like, right? But also the cons of it is the fact that so many people get so stuck in that little box. Once it's
Right.
defined, there is no expansion, there's
Right.
no room for anything else. It's either this or that. There's no
Right.
in between, there's no variety, there's no anything. So that's the con, when people just are stuck in
Yeah.
that little box.
Like one of the while you're sitting there saying that, what comes to my mind, and in addition to what you were saying too, Sky, is like everything, like music, everything we put our sauce on. Like I was thinking about how you just held up the cup, right? And then I thought about like the word dope, for example. Dope had a certain meaning in the 80s, especially, right? And all of
Right.
a sudden, or I don't say all of a sudden, I don't know when, it
It
or
switched.
originated with us, but we started saying, yo, that's dope. Or that's sick. But sick means,
Right.
it's like we have this innate thing, like kind of like you said, genetically, we have this genetic code within us to where we will take something and we will bleed through it. We will basically make it our own, and it just happens. It's natural. It's not something we don't get together in the committee and be like, okay, look, man, this is the word, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna put a
That's the
spin on
word.
this
Right.
word. we,
Yeah.
we don't do that. We just naturally just start talking a certain way, and all of a sudden we just embrace it, and it becomes this thing that they call slang or ebonics. But really, it's just I believe it's just us always somehow some way on this journey to connect to our most authentic selves, no matter what it is, whether it's language, whether it's medical practices, education, et cetera, companionships. I think we're always somehow some way we're just trying to get back to that core of who we are, no matter what.
Mm-hmm. Um, so I wanted to ask you, because you talked about the multi-monogamous.
Yeah.
So basically, you are okay dating monogamous people,
Yeah.
and
So
how's that been for you?
So it's for me, it's been what I would call a success. Now I'm not saying that they've all have lasted forever. The type of individual I am, as far as my own personal exploration with how I look at companionships, I do prefer long-term companionships.
Mm-hmm.
So a couple of them have been more temporary, but not temporary from the perspective that it blew up and like it ended in a bad way. It just
Right.
but yeah, it's not something that, that's something I wrote about in my book. I don't suggest people go out and search for monogamous individuals. That has not been my journey.
I could
A
speak on that.
I remember you talked about, but what I will say is that, and this is a good example, because when it first showed up, I met this young lady um, at the job I was at when I was in Philadelphia, and it was one night after some event. I'm in the radio broadcast industry. I'm going home, and I see her sitting on the bench, or whatever, and I'm like, oh, it's pretty cool, whatever. We just started talking. Long story short, we talked more, and then I think literally within 2 weeks, I remember sitting with her on a bench again somewhere else, because I'm like, you know what? I want to be upfront, transparent from the get go, because I don't want there to be no cloudiness, no misjudgments, et cetera, et cetera. And it's funny because when I started off talking to her, I was like, you know how most men tell you what you want to hear? I'm probably about to tell you what you don't want to hear. Because I knew at that point
Mm.
there was like a certain, connection, chemistry or whatever. So I was like, this is the moment to just go ahead and get this out the way. So, I dive in. I'm like, listen, I am polyamorous. I actually shared with her about three ex-fiancés, et cetera, et cetera. And I'm like, I want to put the ball in your court, and I want you to be able to make a decision on whether or not you want to see me as a friend, an acquaintance. I wouldn't even, honestly, because I didn't even know that polyamorous and monogamy is a thing. Like, as far, pretty much felt that you're a polyamorous individual, you have to date poly people, and same thing with
There's
monogamous
not
individuals.
enough. There's not enough people.
Right. So I told her, and it continued. The relationship continued. I'm like, wow, okay, this is interesting. And I didn't even know what to make of it. I didn't know what I had to bring to the table. And that was a very unique and special moment, and still to this day she's someone I still cherish. But yeah, I would say it's been successful, and at the moment I'm still trying to figure out like what this is all about, and how to continue to make it better as far as evolution is concerned, because I want to grow, and I want anybody that is within my circle to grow also. So it
Mm.
has to be balanced. That's what I express a lot. It has to be balanced. And when you're dating someone who's monogamous, you got to find a unique type of balance.
Right.
That is true.
So, question for uh, that specific relationship that you just told us about, how did she navigate you being polyamorous and her staying monogamous to you? Was she accepting? How did it feel when you had other partners? Has she met other partners of yours and all that?
So the interesting thing about, and this is something I talked about a lot too, and I am pro this in particular, what has showed up in my companionships with monogamous individuals is DADT, which is another
Don't
label.
ask,
Don't ask.
don't
It's
ask,
called
don't
Yeah.
don't
tell.
ask, don't tell. Now, just to be clear, I don't implement that energy or that essence. I am totally okay with expressing who I'm with, what I'm doing, whatever. I always leave it open. Like, listen, I will tell you anything you want
You
to
want
know,
to know.
but I
Exactly.
leave it open to them. And it just so happens that the monogamous individuals that I've been with, they have chosen the don't ask, don't tell philosophy. And I'm not saying that they called it that. It wasn't this. Matter of fact, before I even knew that there was a thing called don't ask, don't tell, I pretty much called it in my mind, like out of sight, out of mind.
Right.
Um, but it just worked. And as far as going back to this particular individual, she was younger than I was. So I do we had seasons, I would say, oftentimes too. I would say she's more of a seasonal partner even to this point.
Okay.
But I never put, any type of restrictions or restraints on the relationship we had, as far as her not being able to go date other individuals. We would be with each other, and then I know that we would have seasons where we would kind of drop out, and I knew she would, be with another guy in particular, and it didn't bother me at all. But she was still a monogamous individual. That's what she would describe herself was. And I it's interesting, as I'm saying that, just to add to that, I think it's interesting, the monogamous individuals that I have
Wait a
been with.
minute. I have a
Yeah,
question.
yeah, sure, sure.
You said she still considered herself monogamous even though she was dating two guys?
Hey, hold on,
No,
Sky. You gotta hold the question because he's gonna forget his thought.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
uh,
because I want to
uh,
hear what he's
okay.
saying next.
Oh yeah, that's cool. It's cool. I'll answer that though. Well, no, what I was just saying is that I do feel that, again, going back to this, I'm a person of origins and etymology. I love dissecting words, because I'm a galactic communications major. That's part of what I'm here for. And I think that even possibly some monogamous people might need to branch out and have labels of their own up underneath the label monogamous, just like there's
Mhm.
all these labels up underneath the label polyamory. I
Mhm.
think I think that there's things that they might want to add to make their companionships more unique and flexible also.
Facts.
But yeah, going back to you, Sky. No, when she was with somebody else, it would be during those dropout seasons where we were not together.
Got
When when her and I were together, it was just
One
it
at a
was just
time,
yeah,
basically.
one at a
Got it.
time.
Got it.
Yeah. Mhm.
I
Yeah.
mean,
Sorry for
no.
interrupting.
No, no, you good, you good.
I know you're like, oh, wait. But
Yeah, yeah.
because the reason why I do that too, like I'll be lost. But
Mhm.
now I'm focused on your question, and now it's like, oh,
Yeah,
I forgot what we were talking
Squirrel.
about.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean that's hey Michelle, hey Susie, welcome. Thank you for joining us for the first time.
Peace, peace,
Um
peace, y'all.
so for me, I have yet to wrap my mind around date like what dating a monogamous person looks like for
Mhm.
me right now, because literally once I've crossed over to that fence, to that line, it's like I keep looking back. I'm like, I can't, because I feel like I'd be walking backwards.
Right, right, right.
But I don't know. It sounds pretty interesting. For me, I think it's mainly the issues. Now, I'm not saying those issues will not come up in a
Mhm.
um dating somebody who's polyamorous. It's just it's not as common. And most of the time, if it does happen, that person is most likely, not always, most likely equipped with good tools to for us to work through whatever
To
that is,
communicate.
a lot easier to communicate with and figure things out than the monogamous person, especially the person who's not even willing to do the extra work, the work that it takes to step outside the boundaries of monogamy,
Right, right.
so I have yet to see myself like even considering dating a monogamous person, because I'm like, it's just too much work. I'm
Right,
out. I don't
right.
want to do it.
The
So
work is in finding poly people, number one,
Mhm.
in in proximity to where you live. I'm in these groups, and people are like, yeah, my girlfriend lives in Oklahoma, and yeah, my boyfriend is all the way in Texas. I'm like, that is not a relationship to me, y'all. I mean, that
you
would,
don't like long distance?
hell no, I need to see you. I don't want to be
Yeah,
flying around the world.
So you like
yeah.
super attached then,
I
in
like
that
to be
sense.
warm in the winter. You know what I'm saying?
Well, somebody told me today
I like
it's
that,
big
Sky.
boy season. I'm like, what is that? Apparently, like,
It's getting cold. That's
I'm
what
like,
it
I need
is.
to
You know
get
what
me
I'm
a big
saying?
boy now.
Yeah,
But
Yeah, I'm
that's
not
side
doing
note.
all this video chatting around the world type of crap. You know what I'm saying? We are all friends. That's fine. But
yeah,
yeah, no, proximity is definitely a thing to me.
Okay,
yeah.
So when we look
I
at
get
the,
that.
how like you put like this is where you are, and then you put like a circle around, like,
Hmm.
okay, I'm
Right,
not going like really out beyond like maybe
right,
10,
right.
20 miles. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like I'm not doing this like, let me go to
Yeah.
like 4 hours away type. Yeah, no.
Listen, where I live, everything is pretty much long distance at this point.
Yeah, it's not.
Even somebody in Georgia is long distance to me. So
Yeah.
Yeah,
I am
that's why
used to
being
long
in a
distance
city is a good
relationships.
idea because you have more
Yeah,
choices, you have more people, you have a variety of things going on.
definitely.
So that's just my personal thing.
Right.
Mhm.
I get it. I was in a long distance relationship for the longest time. It was actually one of my best relationships. Um it's so funny though, because the majority of that relationship was long distance, and I'm not talking like, oh, Georgia, Alabama. It was Haiti and
Ooh,
United States.
yeah,
So it
yeah.
was really rough. um so but you know what, like I said, it was one of the best relationships. So I am that person. I do need the cuddle, like I like physical touch and all that stuff, but at the same time I am okay with having space and distance, because I do enjoy my own company. Even when I love
Mhm.
somebody, I don't mind it. I As long as I know what's happening, then I learn to adapt. pretty easily. So of
Mhm.
course sometimes you feel like, oh, I wish this person was here for me to cuddle with or whatever. But I at this point I don't necessarily want a long distance relationship, but I
Mhm.
feel like it also depends on the energy. I may give it a
Mhm.
shot. I'm talking like real long distance, out of state long distance. Um, but I do prefer when I can see the person, I don't know, maybe once every 2 weeks.
Mhm. Mhm.
I don't
Mhm.
that would be nice kind of thing.
I'm
But you have
curious.
that look, Sky. She's like,
I'm curious. I'm curious, Sky, because I know you said that you've dated monogamous people, right? What
Yes.
where because I think about I spend a lot of time thinking about these things. So I was wondering, like, where did it go wrong? My assumption is that you told him or whomever that you were polyamorous from the jump or whatever. And what happened? Like, yeah, just when did it go south? I guess, for lack of word.
Um, so I'm trying to think of so like men when men hear monogamous men hear that a woman is poly, they're like, "Oh, she's a freak. She gets down," and
Right,
they feel, you know what I'm saying? Like
right, right,
it just
right, right,
sounds like she's openly sexual. Like
right.
that's where the thoughts on the mind go. So that's where they go, but they don't realize like emotional, like I think the problem with monogamous men is they're good until they become really emotionally invested,
Mhm.
and then you're like, so I'm going out on a date.
Mm.
See, the don't
Right.
ask don't tell is not my formula because
I
I'm
mean, you
too
said that, yeah.
open. I'm too
Hmm.
open. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm going out. So when I my cat is trying to get in the room. I'm trying to text my daughter. It's a little weird. But
Poor cat.
anyway, my cat hasn't seen me all day. Um, one second.
No, you're good. You're
I,
good.
I'm gonna. Okay, go ahead.
But
I
yeah,
will go for a second
so I
minute.
think it becomes like they're cool, like we're it's all good until they like fall in love. And
Mm-hmm.
they were like, "What? I'm catching feelings." And I'm like, "That's the goal.
Right, right,
That is the goal. The goal is to catch feelings. The goal is to like, do this." My cat is trying to break the door down.
yeah.
Let
You,
me call my daughter.
you got a vicious. You got a tiger.
I know, right? I don't know, Sky. Some kind of exotic pet in there. Um, as she's talking about,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
don't ask, don't tell.
Mm-hmm.
Can you get
I
India?
do not prefer the don't ask, don't tell, but I
If I can
was
get
Mm-hmm.
in
in
a
here.
don't ask, don't tell that transition into
Mm-hmm.
just being open about things. But
Mm-hmm.
at the same time, now that particular person, because I'm so used to the don't ask, don't tell,
Mm-hmm.
I lean more towards that when
Mm-hmm.
dealing with him.
Right.
Now, not that I'm hiding anything, it's just I don't
Right.
necessarily volunteer information that is
Correct.
unnecessary, because
Correct.
I don't even think, even though he decided to be open, I think he still kind of prefers that
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
setup.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I mean, I find myself, I'm like, oh, I've developed some kind of don't ask, don't tell kind of things,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
because I'm finding out in this season right now, there are certain things I'm kind of like, actually, I don't mind if I don't know.
Right.
Now, if you tell
Mm.
me, I'm
Mm-hmm.
okay with
Mm-hmm.
it, but I don't mind if I don't know this one. So
Yeah.
don't need to tell me all the little details at this point right now.
Yeah.
But there was a point where it's kind of like, give me more. Like, how much more can you tell me about this? Give me all the details. I want to know every little dots that's been put on paper, all of it. But in
Mm.
this season right now, some of it I'm just kind of like, yeah, you can keep that to yourself, you know?
Yeah, I think like so from the experiences that I've had, I don't even care for married poly guys.
Mm-hmm. Hmm.
So there's only going to be either solo poly or monogamous from my taste, because
Okay.
married poly, they're not really free. They're not super free. You know what
What's
I mean?
Wait, what's married poly? I'm sorry. Can you can you
Married poly is they have a wife in their
Okay.
house. They live with their wife, and then they're dating outside of their marriage. She might be
Okay.
dating somebody. She might have a boyfriend or a girlfriend, and
Okay.
he has a boyfriend. I mean, I'm sorry, cancel that. He has a girlfriend or two outside of their marriage.
Okay.
I've experienced that, but I don't care
You don't like
for
that
it
either.
because the family relationship is so it's
Mm,
intertwined
mhm,
in a way
mhm.
that I don't have the time, and
Yeah.
it's just like, and it also goes into like the young kids thing, like you're talking to someone and it's like they have to like do like older kids is different, but little kids, like I feel like if you can leave your kids home type of thing by themselves, then you're good for dating
Mhm,
me.
mhm, mhm,
But if they're like requiring, childcare and stuff like that, like
mhm.
those are just certain parameters I don't want to do anymore. Like I'm beyond that stage.
Yeah.
I
Um,
respect that.
yeah.
Like, so it's interesting. This literally just came to my mind. I don't think I even included this, but um, it's kind of like something missing from the conversation around, for example, kind of going back, circling back to the beginning when we were talking about how we view things, and through a certain lens. So you take this individual, I don't know if you've ever heard of her, divine ancestor at this point. Her name is Sobon Fu Some, and she had a brother named Malidoma Some who was pretty renowned also. And I forgot the book. There's a book.
Of water and the spirit.
Yes, yes. So part of in that book, can't remember what chapter it is. A part in that book, she talks about homosexuality, and one of the things that she talks about was, ironically, from a don't ask, don't tell point of view. She talks about how, that aspect of this individual's existence was so unimportant that it more so played the background regarding tribal matters. The most important part of, and I'm paraphrasing obviously, one of the most important parts of this individual was this individual had the ability to transcend spiritually. She was two spirited or three spirited, which I don't know if you've ever heard that, but that's also in various indigenous Native American tribes, two spirits. So they realized the how critical and how essential this individual was to the tribe. And when it came to various elements of this person's reality, it just wasn't important. It was like whatever. It's this kind of in your face thing regarding. I'll just stay on the for the moment of sexuality. When you think about sexuality being so broad and so in your face, based upon my own personal research, whether wrong or right, because there's a lot of stuff out there, you really start seeing that show up in Roman Greco era. So when you think about Rome and Greece or whatever, and you think about how they exuded their sexuality, was in your face, statues, plays, parties. They had so much going on or whatever. And
Hmm.
I really do believe that um, they did a really good job of perverting and basically flipping how we participate and engage with one another, and they flipped it to their to to how they exist. And when you see it today, it's like it's a modern form of Rome Greco. A lot of people will say that this is modern day Rome Greece basically. So the only reason I bring that up is because it's like, again, going back to like, you know that's just one element of don't ask, don't tell. A lot of people feel that when it comes to don't ask, don't tell, what's going to show up is this thing of infidelity, this lack of trust or whatever. Again, kind of like you said, Sky, man, you're just going to be out there having sex with a whole bunch of people, and it's like, yo, man, chill,
No.
calm down. Like, there should be anyways, mutual
See,
agreement.
the don't ask, don't tell thing, that's probably the part when I get a little uncomfortable
Uh-huh.
because, and we mentioned this in past past podcasts,
Hmm.
where why it's important to know your partners,
Hmm.
because if you are don't asking and don't telling me, and you
Hmm.
are a man seeing another man, I'm going to be offended when I do
Right.
find out, because I
Sure.
need to
Sure.
know that. and I
Sure.
need to make a choice. I have, once again, I hate to be under the stereotype. This is Atlanta. Well,
Mhm.
we're in Atlanta, but it's the whole
I know,
truth. And I
I
have
know
met
about Atlanta. Yeah, I
a
know. Yeah,
couple of guys who have a secret life,
yeah,
and I'm not okay with not knowing that. You know what I'm saying? And I
Right.
and I think it speaks to not a
oh yeah.
homophobic thing,
No,
but
no,
it
no, no.
speaks to the real, this is, I learned this, I think, this summer, the real reason why we're poly, right? And this
Mhm,
might not be everyone's answer, but the real reason why we're poly is to build community,
mhm,
right? Because
mhm.
when you really say you love somebody, right, and you love and you love and you love and you love, right, we
Yeah,
are coming together, we are becoming closer, right? And we can't build community if I don't know your people.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
yeah.
I
And
get that.
so that
I get
whole,
that. Yeah,
and then also, in essence, if you are doing multi-monogamy and you have all these individual relationships, right?
yeah,
You are going to spread yourself so thin.
yeah, yeah,
Because I find in a
You're
lot of
not gonna, huh?
no, I was gonna add to what you're saying because I find that a lot of monogamous people they want that constant, like we got to do everything together.
mhm,
Why are
mhm,
you not with me Monday through Friday or whatever? Like, why do you need
mhm,
a break from me? Or do
mhm.
you not love me? Do you not like me? Why do you need time for yourself? Am I not enough? Like, there's a lot of that I feel in monogamous people. So
Mhm.
when you have all those monogamous relationships, I feel like that could be a lot. I don't feel like it's as demanding as having multiple relationships with polyamorous people. Now there are some demanding polyamorous people that require a little bit more of this, a little bit more of that, a little bit more time, and stuff like that. But I find it typically in monogamous people, they want more because they are used to just having that one person and you are each other's focus for the most part.
Mhm.
And then when you want to be a person of yourself, like just being a human being, needing time alone, needing not to do everything with that other person and this and that, there's offense taken to that. So how do you manage when you have multiple monogamous relationships with that kind of thing?
Yeah. So
And
you know,
what's your saturation point?
everybody has one, right? You know
Yep.
what's interesting, in something interesting I'm seeing in these monogamous individuals. It's funny because like we have this thing called solo poly, right? It's almost like there's a thing called solo mono or something, and basically how I'm expressing that is that, and I think, just rock with me here as I try to articulate this. I think this comes with the changing of the times, meaning that, we all know monogamy looked a certain way in the 60s, 70s, 80s, prior to that, obviously. Now you have this narrative. Again, I'm not making a blanket statement for all women or men, but no matter what I'm saying. But you have the narrative of, INDEP ED, you know what I'm saying? Independent woman.
Oh,
Oh,
wow.
I'm
I'm
trying to
here
do
like
I was like,
IND.
I.
I was thinking it's a little bootsy.
Oh, I'm ready for this. I love you said that. Let's go. Let's
Right.
hear this.
So you have the independent woman now who can do more by herself, right? Whether it's I'm just throwing out some examples, whether it's paying her own bills, whether she has a certain type of career obligation. A lot of just being honest, a lot of women, whether they want to or not, are single parents, right? So I'm coming across women, um, for whatever reason, that they tend to like a lot of their solitude, for example, or they tend to be, I'm not going to say happy, uh, but I'll say maybe, I only know I want to say prefer, but they tend to be content, or they tend to want to do more by themselves than they want to do with somebody, with me, for example. So, so that's what's showing up, regarding my engagements with monogamous women. It's this. I'm not needed as much, and I'm okay with that. And being, a solo poly individual also, because that is connected to who I am. I'm so many layers and pieces within the polyamory world of galaxy. We're able to find these compromises where I can be myself. And kind of going back to something you were saying too, Sky, the thing, well, I'll say a couple things. Um, so speaking for myself, for example, I'm not a highly sexual individual, never have been. And kind of going back to circling back to when you asked me too about when did I, discover polyamory, for example. When I'm like a teenager and I'm noticing different things about myself. For example, I'm noticing that I love the um, the engagement with young teenagers at that time when I'm a teenager, and I'm enjoying this presence of multiple women. Now, I wasn't necessarily dating, and it definitely wasn't about sex. I've never been a highly sexualized individual, and even starting even at that age, it was pretty much like, listen, we don't even have to do that or whatever. And that's where you'll see in my book also that asexual polyamory shows up within me also. So for individuals that maybe don't pursue that and are not highly interested in that, not to say I'm not interested in sex, but are not
Mhm.
highly interested in that.
It's
um,
not that a bigger a priority.
Correct, and then from the perspective of trust, my perspective on that, like it's just no different than any other companionship. Like you have to trust the individual you're with, and also, and I'm pretty sure it's discussed a lot. I don't see it discussed a lot, but polyamory is no different than the quote unquote supposed beginning phases of a monogamous relationship. Like I generally really thoroughly enjoy taking time out to really develop friendships with individuals. And
Mhm.
even to the point of
I
like
love
you can
that.
throw me in the friend zone, I'm cool with that. Whereas you didn't
I
want
say the same thing.
right,
I do say the same thing.
I'm cool with the friend zone. Whereas when I was just pursuing monogamous engagements, it was like, dang, I don't want to be in the friend zone because you really wanting to capitalize off of the moment of really getting to know this individual and it not be a quote unquote waste of time, even though a friendship is not necessarily a waste of time.
Right.
But yeah, but I say all that to say that trust has to be critical. Friendship to me, friendship has to be critical. And um just addressing something you said also, Sky, like those one-on-one beginning phase compromises and mutual agreement discussions is everything. And I think that if you're an individual that needs to know certain things in particular, like, listen, I need to know how many partners you're gonna have. We're gonna cap it at this or whatever. And if you're gonna go beyond that, then we gotta come to the table and renegotiate this contract of sorts, basically. Go ahead.
Sounds like you're making rules for people.
I mean,
Mhm.
well, no, but these are not my rules. I'm just saying, like, when you're at the beginning stages of like, okay, I'm polyamorous and you're a monogamous individual, I'm talking about compromise.
Oh, I
I'm also,
see.
yeah, I'm also talking about compromise.
Multi-monogamous
Yeah,
side.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But
And
but
something
mhm,
you said as well, Ghost, about, you okay being in the friend zone,
mhm,
whatever. A lot of us typically are not okay with that because it's our ego. It's kind of like you
Mhm.
mm,
thinking,
mhm.
how do you not want me? How,
Right,
that kind of
right,
stuff.
Yeah.
So it's not necessarily because we're not okay with the friend zone. It's the
yeah,
ego talking like, how dare you? Like, I'm
right,
giving myself to you.
right,
Like, so
yeah,
I think a lot of times that's why it's hard. And today again, we're talking about, somebody asked me about if I saw the story of Jada and Will Smith. I said, I don't watch
oh,
the news.
oh
I
my
don't watch
gosh,
TV like that. I
right,
don't be on social media. I haven't even been on Facebook like that lately.
mhm,
Mhm.
Um, it's just things got crazy busy on my end. But I
mhm,
was just kind of elaborating on what I'm thinking, like my perspective, because they're saying like that she said they've been separated since 2016, blah blah blah. But I'm like, well, they built something together. They built an empire together. They built a lot of stuff together. So just because they cannot be romantic husband and wife anymore, should they really destroy everything that they built just because they're not having
No,
sex as a couple, just
Yeah.
because they don't consider themselves a regular couple per society standard? If you're still
Right.
good partners, why destroy that relationship just
that
because that
Right.
sexual aspect doesn't work, that
Right.
husband and wife aspect doesn't work? But again, husband and wife per society standard, because my husband and wife, to me at that point, is like, I'm good with you. We're going to keep building things together. We want to see each other grow. We
Mhm.
want to see each other succeed. We want to see each other happy. How much more do you need from a relationship? So what if I'm not getting sex? What if you had health issues that truly prevented you from having sex, right?
Mhm.
So am
Mhm.
I
mm,
supposed to
Mhm.
throw you out just
into
Mhm.
because
the
that can't
into the
happen?
street.
Right.
Right. I don't need
Straight
to
Mhm.
to the streets.
divorce you. Yeah. If our partnership still works, I'm not
Mhm.
saying it's going to be smooth sailing,
Mhm.
but every relationship has challenges, whether it's a friendship, uh, work situations, um, romantic relationships. Every
Mhm.
relationship has challenges. So
Absolutely.
why am I going to throw away a good partnership just because we're not we're not doing what husband and wives, I guess, people
Right.
think should be doing? And she was kind of like, because that's not
Right,
the point where she was coming from.
Did she know who
right,
she was talking to?
right.
It's like, I don't understand. We can be friends, we can be great friends. And actually,
Yeah.
um another thing, if you have friendship at the foundation of your relationship, no matter
Mhm.
what happens, you
Right.
will still stand
Solid,
together. You will be
solid.
solid because you had that friendship as your foundation, which I
Yeah.
think is always necessary, mandatory for every romantic relationship. And one ex of mine could never understand. Till this day, he still looks at me like I'm crazy. And he's the only ex that I don't talk to because he can't wrap his head around the fact that I am friends with all my exes in the
Mhm.
past.
Mhm.
Now, it's not like we
Yes,
call each other up every day. Hey, what's up? Spend
Right.
hours on the phone. But I
Right.
know literally I can pick up the phone right now and call any of them and check, hey, how's it going? From time to time, they check up on me. How's the family?
yes,
How's this?
Mm.
How's that? You know why? Because we were friends before we
Sure.
became romantic partners.
Yeah.
So
right.
when that romance, because the way I see it, it's a house, right? You have your
Mhm.
foundation, the first floor, and then you have the romantic
Mm.
part. That's the second floor. Now,
Mhm.
if the second floor can't survive it, you can still leave it alone, tear it down, do
Yeah.
whatever you need to do, but that basic is still there, which is your friendship.
Yeah.
Because it's the
Right.
bottom that truly matters. I mean, everything else matters, but the most important part of it is that friendship at the bottom. So
Yeah.
to me, it's like, why destroy a good partnership, a good relationship, just because you can't, like, you're not meeting society's standard?
Yeah.
I also wanted to share the part you talked about, the independent, the INDE.
INDEP.
Oh, that must be
P-E-N-D
from the song.
D-N-D, whatever.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
that part I find, this is also part of the reason why we need polyamory in the world, is because
Mhm.
the traditional world that keeps being debated online,
Mhm.
y'all
Mm.
could fight
Mm.
for it. Y'all could
Mm.
fight for it as
Mm.
hardcore as you want to. But the truth of the matter is, we are going into the future. We are moving
Mhm.
forward, right? So if I could be the stay-at-home wife and keep the house, all beautiful and cook dinner. And I'd actually do that anyway. But I'm saying, and all my needs are taken care of financially, then that conversation becomes a lot more valid. But
Mhm.
I'm out there on these streets just like every
Mhm.
man I know. And now it's not like I won't say that there's like an equality between us, because I do feel that like a woman has a role and a man has a role. I do
Mhm.
see the world in that type of polarity, but and I do see us like working together, because there's strengths that a man has and there's strengths that a woman have, but it's not the same. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? It's really
Right.
not the same. And the fact of the matter is, I remember at work we were talking, and one guy said, so if a woman has money, does she need a man? And I said, well, not for those things.
Mhm.
Because,
Mhm.
a man, and it's so funny. I'm like, why don't guys feel better now that women are able to pay for
For
things?
real?
Why don't men feel better that they can go out to dinner and they don't have to cover everything, and they don't
Right.
have to take care of, men die out here. Men are dying out here because they're so
Mm.
stressed and they work so hard to carry a family, right? That's what's
Yeah.
going on. Men are doing the hard work out here to sustain society.
Right.
Truck drivers and construction workers and all these different dangerous jobs to maintain a family. But the reality is we can balance that out now.
Right.
You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Because a lot of it has to do with finances, right? So
Yeah.
we can balance that out now. So now when you get a partner, aren't we like, I don't need you to take care of me. I want to be in your life. Now, doesn't that even sound better?
I want to
Yeah.
add to your
I
life.
want to add
Right.
to your life. I want to be a part of it. I want to share. I want to have fun with you. I don't need you for no wallet.
Right.
Right.
Like, that's more attractive to me. Like, if I'm a man, I don't have to like be super fly. You know what I mean? I don't have to like
Mhm.
shinier than the next guy. I can really just be myself, and who I meet and engage with loves me for who I am, not because I'm the big baller shot caller. You know what I'm saying? I don't have to do that to have a real love interest. And I just wonder, it's like, you always wonder about these like multimillionaire celebrity guys. Are these women with you because you're like an
Mm.
amazing person? Or
Right.
do you just have access to a lifestyle that they are interested in? Like, I always wonder, you know what I'm saying? So that's why, I think poly is great, because polyamorous women tend to be more independent, because we're out here. You know what I'm saying? There are married poly people, of course, but and I'm not gonna even say it's a poly thing. I mean, and it's just going on right
Yeah.
now. Even if you're monogamous, women are buying houses more than
Mhm.
men. Women are making just as much money. They say Black women are graduating from college more than any other group. So you're gonna have these successful women who are independent and doing it, but that doesn't mean she doesn't want to be alone.
Yeah.
Right.
When she wants to meet someone and be involved with someone, now she can come be like, yeah, baby, I don't need you to buy me nothing. I mean, let's just have fun.
Right.
Yeah.
you
I
know
was talking to a male friend about it who
I
used to
don't say that
carry
though.
who you he used to carry
I
the
need
weight.
something.
He used to carry the weight of the family. I mean, now he's
Mhm.
not married anymore or anything like that. But I asked him like, so would you still be with a woman who wants you to cover all the bills? And he said basically that's not what he wants to do anymore. Um, but if he were to find a woman, because he's like, and I'm in agreement with him, because we are two people. And another thing that a lot of women do too, when they work, they save their money, and then the man still pays for everything else, which I'm not like in agreement with. But he said if he were to find a woman who he can be with, he still carries all the major bills like mortgage and stuff like that. But if she can pay for a few trips for the year so they can go relax and enjoy life together, then he wouldn't mind that, because you may not be paying the monthly mortgage or the electric bill, but you're still contributing to the health of this relationship, because
Mhm.
you get to spend time together.
Mhm.
You get to go
Enjoy each
places
other.
together, explore things together. And I'm like, you know what, that makes sense. I never thought of it that way. That makes sense. that's something I've always told people. I'm like, I could be with somebody who makes $1 million, but I still need my $15,000 a year job
Mm-hmm.
because it's mine.
Yeah.
Right.
And I want to know that I have something to fall back on, because we don't know the future. As much as we would like to think we're going to be with our mate forever, life
Mm-hmm.
happens, right?
Mm-hmm.
And not everybody plans for the future like that, life
Yeah.
insurance and all that stuff. So, what if?
Mm.
There's so many what ifs. I don't want to be that person. Once you cut off everything from me, then I feel totally lost because I got nothing. I don't want to be that person. So I
Right.
still want to be my own person.
So
You know,
tell us about your book too.
yeah. I want to respond to that. Both of you guys are saying right quick too, because an example showed up in one companionship that I was in, and she was polyamorous. So I'm a landowner, and I love working with the land. And I started a nomadic journey by choice, pretty much about almost 3.5 years ago. And then at some point, due to a number of things that were going on, as everybody's aware of, decided that, or it was decided for me that full time wasn't an option anymore. But making a long story short, one of the things that showed up in a beautiful way was I really thrived on helping out with the land. And when I would show up and when we would work together, we had a great working relationship. She never made me feel lesser than whatever. She had this amazing ability to get money. That was one of her things. She knew how to get money. And my thing was I can work land like no other, basically. So when it came down to the perception of things or whatever, like, okay, maybe another guy makes more money than I do and can be a different type of provider, I never felt less than, because I was a provider in a different way.
Mm-hmm.
So kind of going back to what you just said, Sky, regarding just kind of dismantling this traditional
Mm-hmm.
system and the nuances, like for whatever reason, I don't say for whatever reason, I'm sure there's a reason, but this system, that's tied into capitalism and colonialism.
And
It's like
patriarchy.
patriarchy. It's like they give you choices, and usually it's two choices: either you're this or that. I'm gonna
Right.
be left or I'm gonna be right. I'm gonna be blue. I'm gonna be red. I'm gonna be whatever. And I think ultimately, what I want people to also get out of the book, that this is not about getting anybody to subscribe to multi-monogamy or anything like that. I told somebody the other day, like, the foundation of the foundation of my book is who we are and who we were and how we always looked out to look in. And I give so many examples from an indigenous perspective and from ancient perspectives regarding as above, so below, for example. Maybe somebody's heard of the laws of correspondence, which is the center of alchemy and African centered spirituality. You have the divine principles of nature that show up in orishas, that show up in what they call hieroglyphics, but what we call medu nature. So nature and the reflection of nature is who we are, and nature didn't always need to be defined. And going back to these labels and these categories and this traditional way of thinking, like, what I really want people aggressively want people to understand and overstand is that all these labels started from somewhere. Before, you had friends with benefits, casual sex partners, the word single, which starts in like the 13th century. You have the inception of marriage, which starts back in ancient times, of course. But then you have all these tribes. I've done research on a lot of tribes, whether it be Eastern Woodlands, for example, or Choctaw, for example, and different African tribes. Like, a lot of tribes had oral traditions and oral's way of engaging with one another, and their partnerships didn't necessarily have this meaning regarding a label or a word to it. So we don't have to subscribe to any particular words or labels. You can create your own, as long as it's mutual and agreed upon within who you're with and who you're engaging with. you can create your own words, create your own new type of love. And that's what I want people to get out of the book, is that you don't have to do it any sort of way. Because even when I started polyamory, all I did initially, all I did was graduate from one system to another. And it
Mm,
wasn't, and I got caught up in a polyamorous relationship where I was conditioned to see it a certain way, not realizing that, damn, there's so many other ways to do polyamory in a quote
absolutely.
unquote moral and ethic way, of course, between you and your partners or whatever. So it wasn't until afterwards where I realized that, damn, I could have been more transparent about these other elements of who I was, but I didn't know any better because I thought I had to do polyamory this way. Like, you don't have to do polyamory any type of way. You don't have to do monogamy any type of way.
Hmm.
Create your own words, your own labels, and do it how you want to do it, because there's no rules except for the rules that you make.
That you make,
Right.
yeah. You
Yeah,
design it how you see fit
you
for,
design
I
it how
mean,
you see
both of
fit.
you, or
Yeah,
who, or everybody
All
in
of
the
you.
relationship.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, just be
Mhm.
upfront. Just be.
Yes.
That's the biggest thing. The biggest thing is, and that's what I do love about polyamory, is that, yes, I think you said it too in the last episode. Me too. Is that, like, this is the moment. I'm at a stage in a moment in my life where I've been the most transparent and
Yes.
the most upfront and
Agree.
authentic that I've ever been, ever been. I was not that transparent. Same thing with vulnerability and insecurities and stuff like that. This is the most vulnerable I've ever
Yeah.
been, and I've always been an open book. But
Right.
that's what I like about the ability to be polyamorous or to create, your own type of relationship, is that there's so many people out there, like, who you are will exude that, and those individuals, I believe anyways, will show up in your circle, in your energy field.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
I
not
love that.
overnight not overnight, but you know what I'm saying.
I
Yeah,
totally agree. I
yeah,
totally agree.
Yeah.
yeah.
I love
Mhm.
it. So tell us about the book and how people can get it. I have my book. It's here.
Yay.
My daughter didn't want to bring it in to the
It's
room.
okay. It's
So
cool. It's cool. So yeah, this is the book, and ironically, I can't show you. So this actual picture right here is actually a painting that I did in
Mm.
2016, I think it was, and I loved it. And it just, when I was coming up with the inspiration for the cover of the book, I was like, that's going to be the cover of my book. And the painting is right here, but I can't turn the computer for you to see it. I'm not on IG Live anymore. But yeah, this is the book. It's Multi-Monogamous, Three Ex-Fiancés Later, by me, Elrico Ramon. You can find it on Amazon, and if you want it in your local bookstores, I encourage people, call your bookstores and ask them if they have it, or more importantly, ask them to get it, because I'm just a self-published author, little old me.
I love
Well,
it. I love it.
Thank
congratulations.
you,
I
thank
love
you
Do
so
you
that.
much.
have it on Audible? I am a listener than a
Oh,
sit down reader.
thank you for bringing it up. Me too. It's on my radar. I'm going to do the audiobook. I will have it done probably within the next month and a half, and it'll be.
Nice.
I'm still gonna buy my hard copy though.
That'd be awesome. I'd
Yeah.
appreciate
I
that.
love that.
And it's an ebook also, so that's cool
Mhm.
too. You can do ebook also.
How
But
long did it
I
take
like
you to
hard
write it?
copy.
I started writing it in at the end of no beginning of February. And kind of going back to the therapeutic aspect of it. When I first started writing it, it was just like, I just want to release and get out. I wanted to, just, yeah. And then all of a sudden I was like, wait a minute, I think this is going to be something else. So I became a channel and a stream at some point, and it just kept flowing and flowing. So it took me about a month and a half, 2 months, basically.
Okay.
Yeah. And then, I teamed up with this a really, really dope organization called Next Level Publishing that did an awesome job, and they held my hand throughout the whole process, and basically released it. It took a while, and I was just, the anxiety of it all was that was the craziest part of it all, was like, just like having to go back and forth, because I'm an artist by nature, and I just like the creative process. And when it came time to, like, okay, now we gotta, like, critique, and now we need you to read it again, because we need to make sure that this is what you want to put out. I'm like, I don't want to read it again. I just want to put it out
Yeah.
Yeah,
there. So but yeah,
I
yeah,
can totally relate.
took a couple months, and I was pretty much every night. It was just like go, go, go. Don't stop until you're done. And at some point I was like, okay, this is it. And I was finished with it. And yeah,
I
gave,
love
gave
that.
turned it over to them. And I don't I'm not saying I won't ever write another book. So just a real quick story. I've been wanting to write a relationship book ever since probably my mid-20s, but I didn't because I was younger then, and I didn't feel like I knew enough about relationships, anyways. And I've learned some different things that it don't matter how old you are. But it came up again like 5 or 6 years ago. I met somebody and I was talking to them about three ex-fiancés, and it was like, you really should write about this. So I've been wanting to write a book for a while, and I really only wanted to do one, but I have all these other things swirling on in my mind. So maybe I'll write another one, maybe not. I don't know. We'll see.
I love it. I'm gonna go read it starting tonight.
Thank you. I hope you enjoy it. Feel free to critique, and yeah, feel free to find me on I'm on Instagram,
Oh yeah,
multi-monogamous.
I
Yeah.
want to put that in the comments so
Cool.
folks can follow you.
Yeah.
So you're on IG as what?
Multi-monogamous.
Is it a dash or one word?
I don't think it's a dash.
I think it's one word.
Yeah.
Okay. Multi-monogamous.
So yeah. I am on Facebook though, but I'm not active. But I do have this really dope group that I created like 2 weeks ago called It's Indigenous Polyamory. I'll put it on. I'll post it. But yeah, find me on IG. More than anything, I just love talking about relationships. I know I have something to add to it. I have opinions, whether right or wrong, but I just like having discussions. So I do like connecting with people on IG, but more importantly, like if you have groups and stuff like that, whether they be on virtual or I travel. I'm nomadic, so I travel a lot. So if you want to just host a group or whatever, like I love having discussions about polyamory, and I love, to Sky's point, I love pushing the envelope further aggressively. Yeah, because it needs to be talked about a lot more. So
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
The indigenous poly groups. Like for example, when I first like got into the whole like, okay, the poly thing, I need to like be saturated into it. So I joined like 90,000 poly groups on Facebook.
Oh my God.
All of them, everything.
Yeah.
And then slowly I start deleting myself out of them because of the values. So
I get it.
Like the white poly groups, I don't understand. Okay. So I'm gone.
I
right.
Get it.
Because once again, we are not the same.
Right.
The polygamous, king, empire, nation building.
We are not the
same. You know what I'm saying?
Not the same. We're not the same. Yeah, we're different. Yeah.
But you know what?
I hate to use the word hotep because I know it's offensive.
My gosh.
I have very beautiful hotep friends.
Yeah.
But y'all hoteps,
hoteppers.
And I am not here for the kingdom.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Not at all. So yeah, I gotta delete myself out of those groups because like I would get hits like, yeah, me and my queen.
We looking for
me and my queen are looking for our queen, and I'm
we're looking to complete.
Complete the cipher. Get out of here with that. I am not.
You know what? Going back to like the friendship aspect, it's like that's not a normal way to introduce yourself to somebody. Like
that's slavery. That's what it is.
Yeah.
I literally met a couple
that's cultish, very cultish too.
It's gross.
Yeah.
And I went over to their house and the shit was so dirty, right? And that's
like, what you were there for.
Yes. No, he asked me that. I was like, because I'm like, oh, let me just like clean up the kitchen a little. And I know you're busy, in quotes, because his wife works from home, so her ass could do something. But anyway. And then later on, he was like, what would you charge to come and clean up my house? And I was like, your ass. Yes. You get what I'm saying? There's no way in hell. And then the worst part was like, okay, why am I the worst part was he makes like 6 figures. And I was just like, you can hire a motherfucker. Like, what are you? If y'all can't do it, you can afford to hire somebody. Don't try to date me and then ask me to clean your house. That shit is creepy as hell.
That's
Oh,
weird, man. Yeah, I have very interesting thoughts about
disgusting.
polygamy.
We could go.
I will
We could
say
go in
about
that rabbit hole.
this group. I don't even solicit. Like I don't, it's just open, but it's more it's really a history lesson. Like I'm not trying to make a party or friends like thing happen or event thing happen or whatever, because the same thing kind of happened to me too, Sky. Like I didn't join 90, but I joined like a handful, and I was like, this is weird. It's just like I don't know what it
Gross.
is about these poly groups and stuff. It's like I don't know. I think there's like something that might be, speaking for myself, might be not authentic about it or something. I don't know. I don't
Some
know.
of these groups, I stay in them so I can watch the fuckery. Like
Yeah.
I'm
literally,
sure
because
there's
I'm
a
not
lot of
learning
that.
anything from them. But every time somebody comes up with something, I'm like, is that really what's out there? So it kind of keeps me aware and helps
Mm-hmm.
me step outside of my bubble, because I
Yeah.
deal with overall good people and I
Yeah.
don't see that side of polyamory. So I
Yeah.
can attest to everything that I've seen when I talk about polyamory. So I'm not putting it on a pedestal like
Mhm.
everything's all good. So I mean, but again, I don't really call those people polyamorous because they're
Mhm.
just like people who are just out there with their fuckery, basically. It's
Well,
not
they have a fantasy. Like a lot of the guys in these kind of groups, they have a fantasy and they want to live their best life in like a kingdom of like women who are only, with them all in the same house. What a shit show that would be to me. Um I think I interviewed a guy a couple of years ago who
Mhm.
had 5 women and they all lived together. And of course, the women were bisexual. And he
Mhm.
had, like, I think 2 pregnant. He was legally married to one of them. They all lived in the house together. They all worked together, which was like, that was the cool part in terms of like, they
Mhm.
had like a bakery or something like that. But I think there's like a slippery slope with like, how do you really navigate that? And a lot of people are doing stuff without the work. Like, they don't really know
right.
how to do these interpersonal relationships together.
Mm,
And
mm, mm, mm.
um
That's important.
I know for a fact I don't want to live with a bunch of people up in my
Same.
space. Like, they're
Same.
just not like,
Same here.
I you're going with her and her and him and her and
Mhm.
bye.
Right. Yeah.
I'm good over here
Yeah.
on my island by myself. Yeah, no. Mm-mm.
I wanted
That's
Yeah.
to give a couple shout outs to the later people
Yeah.
who came in. David Mitchell. Hey, Ezzy Spotlight. Ezzy
Peace,
has a
peace,
Hey,
peace.
podcast as
David.
well.
David, peace, Ezzy.
He said I can do long distance. That's what we were talking about, the long distance
I'm
thing.
not
Mhm.
doing that.
It's not for everybody. Hey
Yeah.
Rudy, where you been? We've been waiting for you to come in and you just got here and we're about to leave soon. What you
Oh,
got
yeah.
for us?
Late to the party, Rudy.
Rudy just came into the party late, man. You snooze, you lose.
Yeah, wild.
Yeah, I love you guys following. I think it was on the last episode. I think it was a lady named Dune who had asked about polyamorous
Yes.
people dating monogamous people, and I was like, oh, look at there are people that actually do know about.
I know. Listen,
Awesome,
my
yeah.
people are getting. I feel like I'm doing a little job, because so the reason why we started this podcast,
Hmm.
um, I I'm Haitian. In my
Hmm.
community, we there everything is taboo. Even
Mm,
breathing is taboo. Why you breathing
yeah.
so hard? You're not supposed to breathe that hard.
Right.
Wow.
you know. So and as I'm going through my journey, I realize even like some of my friends, some of my
Mhm.
close friends, um, didn't think I should be so public with
Mm,
how I live my life. I should not be
mm,
so loud with how I
mhm,
live my life. And I'm just like, yeah, that's not what we're gonna do. And then so many misconception about polyamory. So I felt the urge and the need to bring awareness to my
mm,
community.
That's right.
And Yes, and a lot of people are watching. Some of them are not always here watching as we are live, but they go and watch later for various reasons. You know, they maybe they're not available, maybe they can't watch it with their spouse or whatever the reason may be. But I find more people are asking questions.
Hmm.
They're messaging about some of the questions and being more open minded. I'm not saying they're all like, oh, I'm gonna sign up, but
Right.
at least
Yeah.
people are a little bit more open now to having the conversation. So I am very happy about that. I mean, I know in a lot of community, it's still very taboo here in
Mm, mm,
America, but
mhm, mhm,
imagine the Caribbean countries and all
Ooh,
mm.
that stuff. So, hey, Kevin.
It's,
Rudy said, even watching this is taboo. Yes, even watching this is taboo too, because
mhm,
some people
yeah.
don't watch it live because they don't want to
yeah,
be seen on the
yeah.
live, and
Mm,
they
mhm,
Jeez.
don't want to be perceived as, oh, why are you watching? What if their spouse or their
mhm,
girlfriend, boyfriend
mhm.
asks them, why are you watching? Is it because you're interested? So,
It's
so that's why this whole podcast started. So we would
yeah.
like for it to grow and explode so we can connect with our people and tell them that it's okay to like
Mhm,
more than one. Don't feel guilty
yeah.
about it.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I always
Hmm.
encourage people, do your research on colonialism. Colonialism is a mother, man.
Yes.
Conditioning
Conditioning. Yep.
people to be a certain way is a thing,
Hmm.
and it's been going on for a long time.
Yes.
And truth be told, a lot of various alternative styles of companionships, like they start with us.
Exactly.
We're the originators of a lot of things. But most importantly, though, I didn't add this in there, but um, always do your own research. Do your own
Yeah.
research because it's out there. Like this is the information age. There's no reason. Now, if you don't want to know, if you choose to be ignorant about some things, like that's on you, and that's cool too, because we all have our purpose here on this journey,
Yes,
and
everything's out there. But I get it
mhm,
sometimes, I do everything. I hear a term that I don't know, I
yeah,
Google.
me too.
The information is free. Google, I always tell people Google is free, but sometimes people would
So
rather
is
ask you
yeah, definitely, yeah,
directly. I am that type of person. I'm kind of old school when it comes to certain things. I'd rather pick up the phone and call customer service than go online
yeah.
and try to figure it out. So I understand some people they'd rather talk to you and ask you directly because they may ask one question and then boom, a second question comes to mind. The computer may not necessarily tell them all the
Mhm.
little details, and a lot of times too, personal experiences help out a lot when
Yeah, oh
they
yeah,
get those answers.
that's what.
Rudy
Yeah,
says they are hiding behind the Bible scriptures. SMH, shaking my head.
Thinking
that's
in
the
my
thing
head,
too.
yes, thank
That's a
you.
whole other show, Rudy.
Yeah, but
You
you,
know,
but
Yeah,
we're gonna offend the whole multitude.
right.
yeah, and to your point, people do need to see us talking about it because white people out there talking about it. they,
Right.
they
Well,
talking about it in their own little way, however they perceive it through their lens, but they talking about it. I think it's good for them to see us having these dialogues, no matter how taboo it is, no matter how much they don't agree or agree, like it's a conversation at the end of the day.
a lot of people
Exactly.
really do agree, and they're just afraid because cognitive dissonance, right? Everything they've been
Mm,
taught
makes
in
them
their
feel.
whole
Mhm.
life, everything, and Disney too, and all of that
Ooh,
tells you to go
Disney.
find that
Yeah.
one romantic
Mhm.
and ride off into the sunset, and you
Mhm.
know what the truth of that story is. And
Mm.
the thing about it is, people really are inquisitive about
Mhm.
polyamory. Like they really,
Mhm.
um, monogamous guys, like on my profile on dating apps, it says it, right?
Mhm.
And they're
Mhm.
always intrigued. There's intriguement, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? But
Yeah.
there's also fear because it's like, well, I don't know what that entails. Oh, you're
Mhm.
gonna be with other men. What does
Mhm.
that mean? What does that mean for me? How does that work? There's just like all this, like, because it's a whole new world, right?
Yeah.
But
Yep.
Yeah.
eventually it's just gonna be like normal.
Yeah.
Eventually. I mean, we'd probably be dead. I don't know.
We might
But
be.
Maybe my kids will get to enjoy that freedom.
yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have children, Ghost?
I got two pit bulls. That's it.
Hello.
I got two pit bulls. Yeah.
Ooh.
Those are
That's
my
awesome.
kids. Yeah. You know, it's
That's awesome.
funny when you said Disney. You know what I discovered too, which is I would actually say is an extension of Disney. I was like, because I'm a huge music nerd, right? And one facet of me being a music nerd is I love 90s R&B, 90s hip hop. I discovered I listened to a lot of 90s R&B music and 90s hip hop, and I'm like, a minute, there's a lot of monogamous conditioning in
Yes.
90s
Yeah.
R&B, 90s hip hop, a lot actually, and I was
Yes.
like, whoa, this is interesting.
Yeah. It goes back to all the music. You can go back.
Yeah, I'm really
Once
fine.
you start thinking polyamorously, all your TV
Yeah.
shows look wrong. All your music, you like hear it. You know what I'm
Mhm,
saying?
mhm.
Like I watch certain shows and they're like, he's got to choose. He's got to choose between
Yeah,
that one and that one. Why can't they just all get together? You know
yeah.
what I'm saying?
Ooh, you know,
So
ooh,
I
you know what
started.
that show? I was gonna say real quick. You know what that showed up today? Actually, I was listening to Erica Badu Next Lifetime, and I'm like, damn, all this time.
Yeah. I
Yeah, that's
started
incredible.
having a hard time
Hmm.
watching movies and shows.
Hmm.
Like, I would get so annoyed every time. I forgot this show I was watching either on Netflix and Prime. And these two guys, they love this woman, but they're like fighting and competing. One can
Mm,
turn back time, so what he kept doing is like recreating the time so he could manipulate time to where she's not interested in the husband that she's with now. And every time I'm just like, every time I watch a show or a movie, I'm just like, you know
there's another
we can have
option.
it
hmm.
all. Like, we
Hmm.
don't need to compete on this. You don't
Right.
need to suffer. Your heart does not need to bleed in order for this love to be
Or yeah.
valid. Like,
Hmm.
you can have it all. Why are we
Yep.
fighting? You
That
Yeah.
know.
part.
So
That
I had to stop watching anything because I got in a stage where I'm like, it's so simple. Why are you making it so hard? So yeah,
yep.
for a while I did
That
not
part.
watch anything.
That part.
But it
Well,
won't
I
be
gotta go,
passionate if you
y'all.
don't do that.
Oh,
So
We
okay.
gotta cut because I gotta go.
I
I
thought we was
mean,
going.
or
Thought
if
we.
you want to keep talking, I mean, I can jump
well,
out.
I mean, we've been on for almost an hour and a
Yeah, no,
half
we did. Yeah,
now.
we
So
killed
we've
it.
been on. Oh
Yeah,
wow.
we
Mark has
feasted.
said
But you can come back and we could do this. We could keep talking.
Yes, yes, yes,
You would
yes.
love
we can
that?
have part two,
Anytime,
right?
anytime. Yeah, I would love it. Yeah,
Oh,
I
Mark
would
has
love
cool.
it.
said 90s R&Bs had a lot of preconditioning. Yes, they
Oh
did.
yeah,
Yeah.
oh yeah.
So,
I tell
but
people all the time. There's a reason why there's so many movies, magazines, music shows. Like there's a reason why you can keep on recycling the same thing over and over again. Like that's the power, the enormous power of conditioning.
Hmm.
mhm. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's big. It's huge.
yeah.
It's huge.
Well, thank you everyone for
Thank
being
you so
here.
much.
Thank you to those who joined us for this discussion. Next time, remember you can jump on the live, show us your face, talk to us for a little bit. But also, if you're a little shy, you can type in your comments, your questions, email us, send us stuff, DMs and all that good stuff because we are the Poly Pimps on
Poly
Facebook,
Pimps.
Instagram, and YouTube. We are here to address whatever you would like for us to address. Thank you, Ghost, for being our amazing guest. It was such a pleasure having you on here. Um, Definitely check out his book and his page on Instagram. Um,
Multi-monogamy.
yes.
Monogamous.
Hmm.
So I can't wait to get my copy. Yeah, so we will be back on November 1st. And as always, remember to follow us everywhere you see us, not on the streets though, because that would be
That's
so
kind of that's freaky.
I know, right? So
Yeah.
just follow us on social media with the
Applause
Yeah.
Poly
button.
Pimps,
Right.
the Poly Haitian Hottie, and Skaijuice. We
Yep.
are here for you.
Yay.
Peace,
Thank
y'all.
you
Thank.
so much.
Oh,
That
and
was
I do have a
fun.
show this Saturday. I mean, I'm not really advertising it to the public, but the people, I already talked. So It's by invitation only, and the people that I invite can invite people. Those who know, and this is gonna be the last backyard show of the season. So we started this in 2020 when we couldn't really go into venues, and the live band. We are Mitou Charles and Essence Creole. We sing Haitian music and serenade you. It's a very chill
Oh,
vibe. Of
nice.
somebody just asked
Well,
me, "Why are your all your shows in the backyard?" I'm like, it's not all the shows, but this is a vibe. And some people they request this one specifically because they just come with their friends, families, they just chill, they set up their tents, they bring their chair, food, whatever they want, they bring. So you're not like restricted to just a venue and behaving yourself and only ordering from the menu. So they bring whatever they want. Some make it like a candlelight thing. So it's a pretty chill and cool vibe. And like I said, it's by invitation only. So this is not a big thing. So it's very intimate. And we do it. I'm looking forward to it Saturday. And only the best will come.
that
Yeah,
sounds awesome.
I wish I was in Atlanta. When I get back,
You can come. You a nomad, sir. What are you waiting for?
I'm in Mississippi now. I'm here for another 2 weeks, but I'll be back.
Oh, you're right up the road.
Yeah,
Right.
I
6
know.
hours. You can come up for the weekend and go back.
I might have to try that.
Yes.
If I don't come this weekend, I'll be back in Atlanta around November 5th, I think. So I'm gonna
Okay.
come hang out. You know, I'm gonna come see you, Sky. I got try some of that food. Your the beet hummus.
Oh yes, I made
Yeah,
more today.
yeah. I'm gonna try the beet hummus.
Nice. Thank you, Marquez. He said you both need an applause button.
Yeah.
Right.
We'll tell Facebook.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yes, Spellman will be there. Thank you, Spellman. All
Thank you.
right, guys.
Hey,
Yeah.
me too, Sky. Thank you so much. Like I really do appreciate it. It was such an honor just to be with you guys, and I just love you guys' energy and chemistry. So I
Thank
Thank
appreciate it too.
you.
you.
Yeah,
Thank
Well,
you.
welcome to the team. Welcome to the family
I'm
and
here.
the
That's
I'm here
right.
tribe
for it.
and the
I'm here
That's
for it.
right.
polycule. All of it.
I'm
All of
here
it.
for it. I'm
All
here.
righty. Have a good
Have a
night,
good
y'all.
night.
All right. Take care.
Peace.
Bye.
Peace. Peace.